We're going to spend a little bit today on this call talking about week 8 Amazon FBA calculator. Because like I said at the beginning, can be a little tricky, but it's extremely important to your success down the road. So we've got a few things for you here right off the bat. Over here in the download section, there's going to be two things. There's going to be the worksheet, which we're going to talk about, which is this right here. I redesigned it, so it's a little bit different than the old worksheet that I had been using in the past personally, and the one that I was, giving out to past students of mine. It looks a little bit different. It's going to be a lot easier to compare with that worksheet. So I feel good about it. And the other thing here is this ISO codes. I'm going to download that really quickly for you here. I'm going to go all the way down here to page 20, and we're going to get to this in just a minute. So I'm going to leave that open right there. But those are the two downloads here for this section. So what is the Amazon FBA calculator? Amazon has given us this calculator, and you can Google and find it. And I also have a link for you guys right here. Click here to access the calculator. But Amazon has created this Fulfillment by Amazon revenue calculator to help you forecast what your fees are going to be for the products that you sell. So there's two columns here. There's your fulfillment and there's Amazon fulfillment. We are not concerned with the your fulfillment column for our purposes. We are doing FBA. So Amazon is fulfilling. Fulfillment by Amazon. That's what FBA stands for. So we are only concerned with this column. And you'll notice there's far less boxes right here that we have to enter in information. So what I've done is I've essentially taken these rows right here on the Amazon FBA calculator, and I have put them right here on this worksheet. So you'll see a lot of stuff is kind of the same. So right here, we've got revenue. Then under that, we've got item price. I don't have a shipping line. And the reason why is if you notice, again, we're not concerned with this one. So for shipping, we have no input because we're not fulfilling the orders. Amazon is. So there's no input for us. So we don't have to even worry about that. That's not our concern. So I just left that off the worksheet. So all the ones that I copy over are ones that are relevant to Amazon fulfillment. So I have the selling on Amazon fees, which is going to be a blue number. And here in just a second, I'll show you it. And then fulfillment by Amazon fees, which is going to pop up right here. Fulfillment by Amazon fees, which is also going to be a blue number, which we'll copy over. Ship to Amazon is right over here. Total fulfillment cost is right here. So you get the point that if you go down, you'll see a lot of the same columns. The big difference here, the big difference between our worksheet and the Amazon FBA calculator is that I have added some rows right here for the total cost of product. I've added like a breakdown to figure out, okay, what does this include? So this includes the minimum order quantity, the cost per product, the cost per packaging, the cost per insert card, the tariff per unit. So we can include all of these costs into our Amazon total cost of the actual product. So we're going to use the Amazon FBA calculator first, and then we are going to kind of see what the data gives us, and we're going to copy that over here to the worksheet. Other thing I'll point out here really quickly on the worksheet is this column right here, column B, is just kind of the instructions. So it kind of says, type in the price, type in from, it just kind of explaining what to do. This is an example column. So you can replace this if you want to use it as your own data. And then I have some more columns where we can compare from different manufacturers. Question right here. Do you include the shipping from supplier to your house and product cost below at the bottom of the spreadsheet? Oh, that's actually a really good question and a good point. We should probably include that. Yeah, let's make another line item for that actually. Yeah, you're right. That's actually really, I'm surprised I didn't add that in right here. So I'm going to add another row right here, and we'll do cost per shipping. And I'll do per unit. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, John. That's a really good point. I think I was kind of tying that into this, but I put product only. So That's good to point out. So I'm going to add this. So I'll obviously just re-upload this file to our program right after this. But yeah, that was a good catch right there. Okay, so let me fix this. I'm going to add one more just so while we walk through this, it has all the proper data. I'm just going to copy over some formulas really quickly. Okay, let's see if that updates. Oh, cool, we updated. Okay, so we should be good to go now. So now we have the total cost of the product. We have the minimum order quantity, which is just more for reference. So when you're doing this, you can kind of just compare, different manufacturer options here at the top. You can see what their minimum order quantities are. Then we've got cost per product, cost per packaging, cost per insert card, cost per shipping, and the tariff. So I think that covers all of the costs of making the product, getting it to your house or to your FBA prep center for those of you who are doing this overseas. Okay, so I think we're good on that now. So now let's go back here and walk through this really quickly. So the first thing you're going to do is up at the top of the screen, there's going to be a little box, and I have a little screenshot right here for you as well. It's going to be a little box right like this. That's going to say, find your product on Amazon.com. What you're going to do, and this is going to be tricky for some of you, because some of you who are maybe creating a bit of a unique product, a product that maybe isn't quite on Amazon right now, or your offer is a little different. So like for example, let's say you're selling a dog bandana and everything on Amazon right now, all the dog bandanas on Amazon are just a unit, like a 1-pack, but you're going to sell a 4-pack. Like that's how you're going to be different, one of your differentiation strategies. So it's going to be hard to maybe find a 4-pack of dog bandanas. So that might be a little bit tricky to really, really get a good estimation. But for most of you, you're going to find the most similar product you can to what you're going to sell. So the example I used was these silk pillowcases. So that's what I'm going to use in this example right here in this video. So what you do is you just go to Amazon.com, you search for whatever your product is, silk pillowcase, and then up here at the top of the screen in the URL, you can get the ASIN, you can get the little product code here. It'll be after like the description of the line, and then it'll start with like a B or number, and it'll have all caps, like 8 or 9 digits right there. You're going to just copy that right there. You're going to paste it into that little box that I showed you right here, find your product, and then it's going to pop up right here. I've already done it right here for you. The importance of this is Amazon is going to use this to calculate your fees. So that's how they calculate the two main fees, is they base it off of the package dimensions, which you're seeing right here, the weight of the product, and what the product is. So different categories have different fees. Also, the price you sell it for changes the fees. And I'll show you right here really quickly how that works. So let's walk through this really quickly as an example. So I'm going to try to just sort of mimic what we have over here on this worksheet. So I'm going to put in item price. I'm going to put in $24.95. Now, this is the price that you would like to sell your offer for. That's why we worked through in the previous modules in week 5, 6, 7, we talked about pricing as one of them, finding your ideal price point. That's where you're going to put in this right here. And you might have a range. Like we talk about in the module, we talk about you, and some of you aren't there yet. That's totally okay. We talk about having a low and a high end price point. So let's just pretend my low end is $19.95. My high end is $29.95 for my 2-pack of pillowcases. So let's start right in the middle, $24.95. So you're going to put in your item price, what you want to sell it for. Your ship to Amazon. This is how much, and I put this over here on the worksheet if you reference it. This is type in how much it costs you to ship 1 unit from your house or prep center to Amazon. So remember, let me go back to my whiteboard here really quickly just to refresh this. Remember, we talked about this in a previous call, but for most of you, the way it's going to work is you're over here. We'll just use China as the example. Your product gets made in a factory in China. It gets shipped to your house in the United States or a prep center if you don't live in the US. Then from your house, you ship it to Amazon. So there's 2 shippings. There's this shipping right here. There's this shipping right here. This is the shipping they're asking for. So when they say ship to Amazon, they're asking for from your house to Amazon. This shipping is the one that John pointed out that we just added. So that's over here, cost per shipping. We'll put that in just a minute. So those are the two different shippings, ship to Amazon and then cost per shipping. So on this, we're only seeing this ship to Amazon, which is, like I said, your house to Amazon's warehouse. I have some videos on my YouTube channel. I think I have some videos on how to calculate that. Basically, you're gonna use kind of like a UPS. You're gonna go online. You're gonna go ups.com. You're gonna just kind of visualize and brainstorm. I would recommend writing this out on paper, drawing this out, and think, okay, if I have my pack of dog bandanas, what are the dimensions of it? How many of these can I fit in a box? How much does the box weigh? And you say, okay, I can fit 50 in a 24 by 10 by 8 box and it weighs 15 pounds. So then you create a mock shipment on UPS. And I tell everyone, just pretend like you're shipping it to the next state over. So if you live in Texas, ship it to Oklahoma or wherever is close, a state close to you. If you live in Utah, pick Colorado. If you live in California, pick Oregon. Just like pick a state that's close to you, because the chances are you're going to ship to a prep center, or excuse me, an FBA warehouse really close to where you're at or where your prep center is at. Then you're going to figure out, okay, it cost me to ship UPS 50 of these bad boys. It cost me $15.95. Then you just do the math, divide it by 50 units, you find your cost per unit. Now, Amazon does give you a 62% discount. So is what I would do is I would like to err on the safe side. So if I did my little mock shipment and it said, I should probably write this out so we're following along here. So if I did my mock shipment and I said, okay, I can send 50 units UPS for $15.95. I would err on the safe side and let's pretend if we're getting a 50% discount through Amazon Seller Central. So if I say 50% discount, let's just pretend, we'll just say $7 just for the sake of being simple. It cost me $7 to ship 50 units. So then you just do some math and you figure out, okay, cost per unit, it costs me 12 cents, 20 cents, 25 cents, whatever it is. So that's how you're going to come up with that number. So I'm going to put in right here, let's just pretend for our 2-pack of pillowcases to ship one of them, it only costs us 25 cents. So I'm going to put 25 cents right there. Average inventory units stored, you're going to put in the number 1. I talk about this more in my YouTube video. It's a really confusing metric and of how they do this. Just put 1. That's like the easiest way to explain it. Like I said, you can watch the YouTube video and I'll explain much more in depth of why they do it like that, but just leave that as 1. And then cost per product. So this is where we're going to switch gears over to our worksheet a little bit. So far, we've entered all this into the FBA calculator except for cost per product. So we're going to come over here and use our worksheet for this. So when we gathered our initial manufacturer costs, which was week 7, so the week right before this one, we realized that, okay, the cost for our 2-pack of pillowcases is $465. That's the cost to make them with our custom designs or whatever. The cost per packaging per unit is 75 cents for our poly bag or however we're deciding to do that. The cost per insert card, we broke it down. We did the math. It's 12 cents per card. And the cost per shipping from China to our house is $1 per pack, per 2-pack of pillowcases. So I enter in all the, and then the tariff, we did their calculations and the tariff is 45 cents. So if I add all that stuff together and I put in the formula here so you don't have to, it's $6.97. I'm going to come back to the tariffs in just a second, but let's just work through this. $6.97. So I'll come here and I'll put cost per product, $6.97, and then you'll hit calculate and you're going to get all the rest of the numbers you need for the worksheet. So we're going to fill in the rest of the numbers. So this number right here, we're going to fill in. Selling on Amazon fees. I made these 2 blue because these 2 numbers are blue. So selling on Amazon fees is blue. Fulfillment by Amazon fees is blue. So those 2 numbers we're going to copy over or type in. So this one's 374. This one is 263. This is the one we typed in. We typed in total fulfillment cost, no selling fees. Total fulfillment cost, 288, 2.88. Monthly storage cost per unit, type in from the FBA calculator that you'll see right here, 2 cents. So 2 cents, we're good there. I typed in a 1. Seller proceeds, I'll copy over. Seller proceeds right here, 1831. So I'm going to change that, 1831. Cost of product, 697, 697, all that stuff added up. And then net profit here at the bottom, I'm going to change that to 1134. And our net margin was 45.45. Okay. I've made some conditional formatting here for you guys so that if your percent is above 40%, it's going to be a green box. If it's between 30 and 40, it's going to be yellow. So 32, 36, any of the 30 to 40 is yellow. Anything below 30 is going to be red. Because my advice is any profit margin below 30% is tough to work with. Yes, you can still be successful, but it's going to be challenging to make money with Amazon pay-per-click. So you might lose a lot of money up front. If you're above that 30% threshold, if you're between 30 and 40, it's good, it's decent, it's pretty solid, honestly. But if you're above 40, you're going to be sitting really nice. So if you can shoot for above 40 and you get that green, you're going to be in a real good spot. So the whole goal with this worksheet is to help you see, okay, from manufacturer A, what is my profit margin? From manufacturer B, what is my profit margin? And you can use this worksheet a couple different ways. You can use one, because I have a whole bunch of different ones here. You can use this first one. Let's say the first one, I'm going to do the same selling price, but I'm going to do different manufacturers. So let's say, okay, I'm going to do $24.95 on all these. So I could just put $24.95 on all these, but different manufacturers. So this one could be Zon Wang. This one is Jing Tong. This one is our India one. And this one is our Mexico one. I will come back to the question about the insert card really quickly after we go through this. Let's just say we want to do the same selling price. This is how I go about this. Literally for our own business is how I use this. I would do the same selling price, but different manufacturers for this first sheet, for example. You're still going to want to punch everything in because things are going to change slightly. So down here, let's pretend that Zong Wang, their cost per product is $4. Their cost per packaging is 70 cents. Their insert card's more expensive. Their shipping is way more expensive. And the tariff is obviously still going to pretty much be the same because the tariff is based off the value. Again, I will go over tariffs after I just run through this one more time really quickly. So our tariff is pretty much the same, but Zong Wang, you'll notice like the cost is different. That's pretty much the only thing that's going to change on the calculator side of things. So what I'd do is I'd say, okay, the cost from Zong Wang is 730. So I'm going to come back over here and do 730, calculate, and see how that changes my margins. So I'm going to come back down here and put in 1101 and a profit margin of 44.13. So the cool thing about using this worksheet this way is side by side, I can just quickly see, okay, manufacturer A, or example in this situation, I have a slightly higher profit margin. It's 45% versus 44. You know, we're talking about 30 cents difference per unit. But let's say Zong Wang, the minimum order quantity is 1,000 units, whereas, you know, the example manufacturer, the minimum order quantity is 300. So now it kind of lets you see, okay, numbers look pretty good. 45 versus 44, that's not something to really freak out about. But ordering 300 units versus 1,000, that's a big difference. That's a big difference in upfront cost, a big difference in risk for your business. So maybe looking at this, you say, okay, I'm going to order samples from each of these guys because I mean, the numbers are good. 45 and 44 is great. So let me get samples from both of these. Let me compare. If Zong Wang's sample comes back and it's way better than example, I'm just going to change this name really quickly. Let's call it Dong Wang. We get a Zong Wang sample back and it's amazing. Like it is, holy cow, this is perfect. This is great. And Dong Wang comes back and it's like, this sample's not very good. I'm going with Zong Wang. I'm going with the better quality product always, always, always. I want the better quality. But if Dong Wang and Zon Wang have the exact same quality, like it's like, holy cow, I can't even tell which one is which, then I'm probably going, obviously, this is a higher profit margin, but I also like the fact that I have a much lower minimum order quantity. Now, there's obviously a whole bunch of other things to consider. And don't worry, I will coach you through that entire process. The entire phase 4, which is like 6 weeks long, is all about sourcing. So it's all about negotiating, what to look for, communication, everything. I can help you find people. I can help you find manufacturers. We have good connections now. So don't worry, we will get to that phase. This is just kind of bare bones. These are initial costs. Remember, week 7, initial costs. We're not saying Dong Wang and Zong Wang, we're going to move forward with these guys. Like, we're not saying, let's go out and order a sample. We're not even to that point. We're just trying to see, is our product idea viable? That's all we're doing in week 8. We're just saying, okay, we have 5 manufacturers that gave us some good feedback. So we know, yes, silk pillowcases, I have a good profit margin. I feel confident in moving forward with that type of product. And then we'll get into the developing. We're going to fine tune. We're going to develop your product, develop your branding. Then we're going to reach out to these guys. We could probably reach out to the same ones, honestly, if they're giving us good rates, maybe some others, and then work towards getting a sample. So we're not rushing the process. Remember, we want to take this very, very step by step. We want to do this right the first time so that, we don't have to go back and start this all over again. So we're going to do this right the first time. But that's an example of how you could do this, use this worksheet one way. The other way I would use it is maybe I would do the same manufacturer on all of them, but I'd pretend I'm changing the price point. So let's pretend I do a Dong Wang and I do a 1995 and I do a 24.95 and I do a 29.95. This one is really cool. I'm going to go through this one really quickly because I really like this way as well, to see how my profit margin changes depending on what my selling price is. So if I were to go through this really quickly, all these are going to be pretty much the same for this. So that's going to be the same. The one is going to be the same. The 2 cents should be the same. We'll check it just to make sure. That's going to change. The costs, we're doing Dong Wang, so I'm just going to copy over all of these. These are all the same. And then these minimum order quantities are obviously the same. Okay, so we copied over everything the same. But now let's mess with, instead of messing with cost of product, we're going to mess with the selling price. So I'm going to put our cost of product back to $6.97. And I'm going to, let's see, I forgot to change this right here. I apologize. This is supposed to be 25 cents. My bad on that. Sorry. So we put 25 cents right here. I think I originally had it at $1. We put 25 cents. So I'm just updating that 25 cents. But again, this will show us how this changes as we change price. So I'm going to put 19.95 now. I think all my numbers look good. Let me just make sure. 25, 1, 6.97. Okay, good. Calculate. So if I sell a 2-pack of pillowcases for $19.95, my profit margin is 35.54. 35.54. My net profit is $7.09. Now I'm going to go back and change this. $24.95. Calculate. My margin jumps up to $11.34 and it jumps up to $45.45. If I sell it for $29.95, we jump up to $15.59 and $52.04. Okay, cool. So now you see the cool thing about looking at this, of doing the same manufacturer but 3 different price points, is you can see to yourself, okay, in a perfect world, and I sell this 2-pack for $29.95, I'm sitting real nice. Like, you're going to crush it. If you have a really good quality product and your margin is 52%, you're going to make a lot of money. But if I can sell for $24.95, it drops a little, but it's still pretty good. Like, 45 is still really good. So I feel really confident about listing this for $24.95. Now let's say, okay, I'd love to sell it for $24.29, but if I had to run a discount, If, my market was just feeling too competitive and I needed to drop my price point, I felt like I needed to drop my price, would I still be comfortable doing that? So maybe you say, okay, 1995 is my absolute bare minimum. I'm seeing 36%. I absolutely am not going below 36%. Now you can really use, what we talked about in the pricing module with this and see really, really in depth. I guess I forgot to copy over these, but that doesn't matter because I just copied this from the calculator. But I could also come in and see how this changes. So 24.95. My fee goes to 374. I think I forgot to change the 1995. 374, 263, but it should change slightly. Yeah, see, so now it's 299 right there. And that one is still 263. 29.95. 449. Just going to put that down there so we can see 449 and 263. Okay. So remember, the fulfillment fee is based off of what you're actually selling, the size and weight of the package. And now obviously that's not changing, so that number's not changing. This one changes depending on what you sell your product for because it's a percentage of the sales price. So that's why you're seeing this number creep on up as you raise your price. Just something to point out, just to be aware of. But yeah, I didn't copy this over, but as long as you copy over the bottom, that's what really matters. So as long as you're copying this over, that's what you're really kind of really concerned about. Let's jump over to tariffs really quickly. Okay, so you're going to read through this. Once you get to this module, you're going to read through this. But tariffs have what are called an HTS code. Sometimes they'll call it HS code, depending on where you live. But basically, HTS code, a tariff code, it's a code associated with every product that's being imported into the United States. And depending on what country it comes from, the US government takes a little piece of the pie, like a tax. Now, the US, if you watch the news, we're always having trade wars. You'll hear trade wars and trade agreements and free trade agreements with different countries to have good relationships. Like, we trade a lot of steel and like raw metal with other countries, and then they trade us food, avocados, or whatever it is, bananas. So every product has a code, and every code has a different tax associated with it. Now, to find your HTS code for whatever it is you're going to sell, there's two ways you can do this, and I have them right here. One is you can ask your manufacturer what HTS code they would use for this product. That's not always the most trustworthy way to go about this, but I always ask just out of curiosity, because then I can go to this website, usitc.gov. I've got a link for you. I can go to this website. I can type in the exact code. So you'll see these codes right here, like over here on the left. It's kind of like a hierarchy system of numbers. I can type in the code they told me and figure out, okay, for pillowcases, they're using this pillowcase code, or they're using some totally random code. You can figure out if they're doing stuff properly. If not, if they don't have a code for you to give you, you can just search by keyword. So what I've done right here is I've literally just typed in pillowcase on this website, and it's found, two search results for pillowcases. One right here is saying napped, and one right here is saying bed linen, knitted, or crocheted. I'm going to go with this one, bed linen, because my pillowcase is going to be for my bed. So right here, you'll see pillowcases. Now you might not see any data right here on like these subcategories. That doesn't really matter. That's just to identify the child product. The parent product is right up here. And this is the one that gets associated with the fee. So honestly, all these ones underneath it all have this same fee. They all have the 6% fee. Now, let me just explain really quickly what are rates of duty. So there's two main columns here you'll see as far as 1 and 2, and then under 1 you'll see general and specific. So we've got over here, we're looking at rates of duty 1 and 2. General, in the general column, if a number is here, this is the tariff that you will be charged for most countries that do not have any sort of free trade agreements with the United States. So China would be included in this column. So if you're doing business with China and you're selling pillowcases, you will have a 6% tariff on your shipments. Special are countries that have special agreements specifically for this product. Now, you'll see little codes here, and I do not know what any of these mean as far as countries. But is what it's saying is it is free import from any of these countries to the United States. So if you're getting pillowcases made in one of these, however many countries these are, and you're importing to the US, you have no tariff. Now, how do we know what countries these are? You can't click on them or anything. That's why I said I included for you guys this PDF right here, ISO codes. And if you download that and go to page 20, and I have that in the instructions, if I go down here to page 20, I have the ISO codes right here. So you can look up, you'll see the little 2-letter code for every country. I can go here and I can look up and say AU. What is that? AU, AU is Australia. So if you're getting your pillowcases made in Australia, shipping them to the US, you do not have a tariff. Congratulations. So you can go through and look through all these countries. Here's my big friend right here, Mexico. You guys know, if you listen to my podcast, I just talked a ton about Mexico. I'm really high on Mexico for the future of manufacturing with the United States. So if you're early in the process, I would highly recommend you explore Mexico manufacturing, because we do have free trade agreements with Mexico. Not to mention, it is very close to the United States. Shipping's quicker, a lot of benefits there. However, China is the king of manufacturing. They can make pretty much anything you can imagine, whereas Mexico is still growing, so they don't have as many options for you. But if you can get it made there, you're going to be sitting really nice. But there's all these other countries as well. So you can look up all these other countries and see if, hey, maybe I can find one of those on Alibaba. Maybe there's, maybe Australia popped up on Alibaba as a country, and you can decide if that's is something you want to do. I will point this out though. If you're importing from China, you're going to get hit with a 6% tariff. Let me state this clearly for you guys. This is not legal advice. We're dealing with taxes and things. This is not legal advice. You should consult an attorney or legal professional to make sure you feel really confident and comfortable with this. I'm not like legally, I guess, allowed to give you legal information. And this is kind of the most legal information or legal requirement you'll have in this business model. But I'm going to give you my opinion on it. 6% is on the value of your goods. So the value of your goods, how I interpret it, and I've talked to a lot of people about this because I wanted to be very safe and careful and make sure I'm giving you guys good information. From everyone that I've talked to that does a whole bunch of sourcing from China, value of goods is the value of the product that you just made. Think about a pillowcase. Yes, you could sell your pillowcase for $10.99 or $24.95 or whatever you decide you're going to sell your product for. But what you're valuing it at, like, that can change drastically. Like, you could do a sale, like they did a sale and dropped it from $16.99 to $10.99. Well, I sure as heck am not going to pay a tariff on $16.99 and then decide I'm going to do a sale and drop it down to $10.99. So the value of goods, how I interpret it, and my other peers that I've worked with interpret it who do sourcing, is it's the value of the product. So how much does it really cost to make a pillowcase? We have the information right here. They're telling us it costs us $465. So you could use $465 as your unit value, but to be totally honest, you could probably drop that even further. So you could probably say, honestly, like a pillowcase, like it's about, we'll just say $3. So you're going to pay 6% on $3 per pillowcase or per pack of pillowcases. So when, at that point, you know, people always freak out about tariffs, but like 6% of $3 is 18 cents. So you got to pay an extra 18 cents to get your thing imported from China. And again, if we go back to our little worksheet, what did we put as a tariff? We put 45 cents. So that's a pretty good estimate, honestly. That's a pretty high end estimate, 45 cents. So as long as you like understand this, you can be comfortable knowing like, oh my gosh, tariffs are not the scariest thing in the world. And I know I just said, hey, I'd really look into Mexico, but if Mexico is charging you $7 per unit and China is charging you $4 per unit with a, we'll even say 50-cent tariff, you're still cheaper than Mexico. So still, it's more beneficial for you to go to China than it is to Mexico. So if this was how drastic the change was in cost per unit, I'm going to China. But if it's a matter of like $4.50 for China or $5 for Mexico, then I might go to Mexico because there's a lot of other benefits, from being close and lead time, shipping times. There's other intangibles that go into the business as well. But that's just something to keep in mind. That's how tariffs work in a nutshell. Again, there's information here in week 8 down here about how to do what we just did. But I did want to kind of run through that really quickly in case anyone has questions about tariffs. Also, remember, guys, all these worksheets are here for you. You can submit them to me. I got to make sure I create the upload right here. I don't have that on right now. I just realized. But you can submit those to me and you can ask questions. So if you have a question about something, just submit it with your worksheet, submit your question, and I'll get you a personalized answer for you. And again, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, and then I'll find someone who does, and then we'll get you good information. That's my whole goal here, is to get you guys the best information.